The third dimension is terror. So now we are on to Jaws 3D, and I must explain something before we go on with this analysis. I've never seen it in its proper context. I've seen it in red, blue 3D on DVD. I've never seen it in 3D the way that was meant to be seen. So the analysis will accommodate for that, but for the most part, yeah, I'm sorry that I cannot give an exact analysis of it. I know the movie very, very well, but I've just never seen it in its original format. Okay, so let's focus on the characters. There's Mike Brody, who had been attacked by sharks in the previous two movies. Mike in this one, he's the main guy, and he's this engineer at SeaWorld. And he's building these underwater tunnels, and it's supposed to be this big, innovative thing. This was 1983, remember. Maybe it really was that big back then, I don't know. And then there's Catherine, who goes by Kay, and she is I'm pretty certain she's not married to Mike. She's not married to Mike, but they are dating each other, and she's like a trainer at the park, and she trains like the killer whale and the dolphins. Later on to the movie, she wants to train a great white shark. This movie goes into some really interesting sidetracks. And then the other main guy is Calvin Bouchard, who is the owner of the park. And he's the owner of the park, and he's all about saving the park. And throughout the course of the movie, that kind of changes. He just kind of wants to save people's lives with about half an hour of the movie to go. So the first hour and 10 minutes, people get screwed. Okay, so, well, actually, although those are the three main, there is one other side character who should be mentioned in the same sense that Ellen Brody. I mentioned her for the Jaws 1 analysis. There is Philip Fitzroy, and he is Calvin's friend, and he's this notorious documentary style shooter. He shoots stuff, and everybody's like, oh wow, that's gutsy, that's daring. And so he's just really notorious. He's a very dangerous kind of guy. Think of trying to think of a good live action example, like the Man vs. Wild guy. You know who I'm talking about? Yeah, you do. That guy is that type of personality. That's who Philip Fitzroy is. So now, let's focus on the death scenes. Death number 1, which is within the first minute of the movie. We're walking around, and it's the shark's point of view, and he sees, like, fish. He sees this fish, and he's like, chomp. And you see a fish's head floating for like 20 seconds. Everybody's all like, oh wow, this is in 3D now, that's right. And so that's death number 1. Death number 2 is Shelby Overman. He is, oh boy, he's there's something wrong with the gate to the ocean, because the shark's been jamming with it, and there's something wrong with trying to open it and all of that sort of stuff. So he's all like, okay, I'll go down and I'll fix it. And he's going around, he's pulling it, and he's like, I'm gonna lock this gate. And then he turns around and the shark's mouth is there, and it chomps him up, and we see inside the shark's mouth, and it's chomping. We see blood rising, and then we see a severed arm, and we see the broken off piece of bone, and it floats toward the camera for 20 seconds. Yeah, you can tell why I can't do a really good analysis of it, because I've never experienced the 3D effects the way they were meant to be seen. Death number 3 is this guy, and they're on the other side of the island for SeaWorld. And he's going around trying to collect crabs for money. I believe it's crabs. I do not believe he has a name. You can feel free to correct me if I'm wrong. If you know, please tell me. And all we see is he's got a light on underneath the water, and we see that light go out. And the shark is eating him. And he's been holding on to this line that the other man was holding on to. And all of a sudden, the other guy, who's in a raft, gets pulled under, and we see him just pulled under, and he gets eaten too. And then the shark eats the raft, destroying any evidence of those people having ever been there. I will continue on with death number 5 in part 2.